Welcome back, everybody. We've got our third game of the night coming your way, and I'm very excited about this matchup. Yes, it's KOVA versus Riddle, and why am I excited about it? Because it is a matchup that means a decent amount for the bottom end of Group E right now. Really should allow things to expand a little bit further, depending on which team comes out on top. And KOVA are a team that has kind of been surprising in some ways, but also is still kind of lamenting in the way they did in the previous split as well. Some games they look really good, and then some games just they aren't able to get a grasp on the game. And Riddle have quite a lot to prove, I think, still.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe bad.
Sometimes
like
maybe
KOVA...
good, sometimes maybe bad.
That sounds very inconsistent.
Yeah, they really are. And I feel like they have shown a good glimpse of what they can do. Like, I still feel like when they have their bot lane facilitated, or just Tiara in general, they're facilitating the map, as we've seen in earlier seasons as well, they can do extremely well. But they just haven't found their footing so far. And Riddle had a really slow start, but they've really ramped up just a bit here in week 2, where they also beat Nordvin out, giving them their only loss until they just played against Fnatic, obviously. So it's going to be interesting. A team that's been a bit inconsistent, and Riddle, who would look to go on to tie with Nordvin now that they lost to Fnatic.
Yeah.
I think I'm just looking for Outlandish here because I feel like he is a playmaker as a jungler, and now he's gained a lot more tools in his hands than when you have, the Graves, the Nidalee, something that just farms all the time in the jungle. Now with the likes of Since obviously banned here, but something like more aggressive that can gank more. Now that the timers have gone up in the jungle, I'd like to see Outlandish more on the map with Tiara. Remember Tiara on the Galio last played would just wreak havoc all over the map. He would just be everywhere. I just need to see that jungle bot synergy work again for the side of KOVA.
Now, this can be very scary. So they opt in for the Rumble first pick, but there's still a lot of other power picks up and available. Akali is one of them, Renekton, Lee Sin, Jace, all these picks we've seen so far, also still up and available. So they can keep the flex going. This Lee Sin could potentially still go jungle as well. So they opt to pick it here on the second red side.
Yeah, they have that option. We have seen a couple of teams do that. Not many. Most will go towards those solo lanes, and obviously a pick of Renekton will make it so that you can mirror the Lee Sin wherever he goes. Exactly. But with the Renekton lock-in, though, I would wager that might push Lee Sin towards the hands of Outlandish a little bit. Just, trying to get him out of that matchup. Interesting that we see the Akali lock-in, assuming that's going over to Simply here. That feels like two awful lanes, though, for Akali to play into.
And it's just really a scary front line as well. Renekton and Set has really been championed. That dude has done a lot of work in other leagues as well, specifically thinking of LCK and LPL, where these champions are like perma-prio picks. So from the side of Riddle, they have some really strong top side of the map here, and you just need to look for some scaling here. So going into the second ban phase for KOVA, they really need to shut down that bot lane, make sure that they're not going to be getting anything Gooby and PlayStation is going to be comfortable on. And speaking of that, Thresh still up and available as well.
Honestly, I'm surprised that Riddle have blue side PlayStations in the team and they didn't instantly pick up the Thresh, because it can be paired up with so many ADCs, the Cosmos, the Jinxes, anything you can imagine, the Varus, anything is just really good with. But they decided that shutting down the solo lanes is going to be key onto keeping Outlandish in one spot, giving him only one avenue to play through, because when the Akali is choked in lane, when the Lee Sin is choked in lane, and Outlandish has to babysit there to keep the waves coming, to keep the waves proper in the lanes, or having to gank somewhere or counter gank somewhere, you keeping Outlandish always in your sights is what I said I wanted to see from him playing the game. Right now, they've made him quite not possibly play the game, at least not towards the top side of the map.
We're seeing some kind of bans levied towards the AD carries here. We have the Kai'Sa taken off, the Jinx taken away as well. So that kind of later game scaling pop-off option has been limited away for KOVA. We'll see what Riddle choose to go with their final ban of this second ban phase. Anything? Okay, Tristana. So they are really hammering into Snurmy's champ pool here, just trying to make it more difficult for him to pick up something that would give them an edge, I guess, playing that range into the set Renekton as the game goes on. But it is a Ziggs that gets locked in. Now, Ziggs is an interesting one that obviously can go into a solo lane, but also could very easily go into the hands of Snurmy in the bot lane.
Yeah, just in general, I think let's just leave it at a very interesting so far. Varus, an AD carry that's still up and available, and Riddle here, they could actually just, okay, Lulu Cock, but I also think Varus Braum is an option you can go for here just because, you know, you want to play for your solo laners at the beginning, and then you're just going to be having that reliable damage later into the game. We've already seen a Cockmore composition, but the way I think it needs to be played is that you need to play for a proactive early game, and Cockmore just doesn't provide you that. What you really want is just keep him safe, make sure he goes even, and then make sure that your solo laners can take over the game, so Cockmore will be this scary carry you can still have in the late game. And I think Braum would be an absolutely amazing pick here, just because the disengage he offers, the peel against Sig as well, if this Sig is going to put to that bottom lane, and it's just overall very safe.
I'm always so happy to see Ziggs, but I just don't think that it fits in this particular composition, because I'm almost 90% sure that this Ziggs will have to go bot lane. There's no other way. And the Lee Sin has been put into jungle, which, yes, you have playmaking potential, but then you've been put into lanes that will get pressured. So I don't know how the Lee Sin will work against the Rumble when he's constantly pressured the entire time. And the Zig sort of works like a Cogmore, right? He's like an AP Cogmore, basically. You need some protection. The Thresh was up and available this entire time, but they chose to go for the Nautilus, the Heavy Engage. The entire composition is all in, and then you get the Ziggs bomb just diving down. So I'm just scared for the well-being of that Yordle in the backline, because he doesn't necessarily have anyone to protect. So if the all-in doesn't work, KOVA will be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think for sure in the early game, the jungle matchup is going to be pivotal. You're taking a look onto Lee Sin, who's obviously doesn't have the fastest clear. Yes, there were changed jungle camp timers, but Rumble is still always going to be ahead of the tempo, and that can stall you down a bit when you want to succeed with a champion. For Atlantis, there's a lot of pressure on him to make this Lee Sin pick relevant.
Well, look, I think that this is an interesting comp from KOVA. Definitely one of the more wild comps that we've seen drafted throughout the NLC so far. And it's definitely what I would call a KOVA take on the meta. Like, it's not something that a lot of other teams are playing. And it's just like KOVA to try and play something a little bit anti-meta or something a little bit off the wall. But I'm interested to see how it goes. We're going to hand it over to Jamada and Hit Brain, and they'll guide us through.
Thank you very much, Scoundrel. We're getting ready to go into this third game of the day. And like Scoundrel was saying, it's a little bit off kind of what we normally see here in the meta from KOVA. What are your takes on this, Jamada? What do you like?
Yeah, I mean, we actually briefly spoke about the Ziggs yesterday, because we have a Ziggs player in the UKLC and it ended up being banned against him. It just recently got buffed on 11-12, or maybe it was 11-11. Either way, it's buffed right now. The ultimate travels a little bit faster over longer distances, and the Q deals a little bit more damage. So a little bit of a strong champion. A champion I feel like is overlooked sometimes as an option here. So into a composition like Riddle's, where there's not really a whole bunch of, hard engage, I think Ziggs can really thrive in a lot of these situations where, Riddle kind of have to stand around and look for flanks or look for these kind of niche engages as opposed to just full frontal engage, because the only way they'll get that is by like flashing through, and that can be very, very telegraphed. So as long as KOVA cover their flanks, honestly, Snowmy can pop off on the Ziggs, and simply, he's only really got one true target in Gooby from start to finish in this game in these skirmishes.
Well, we did have a slight pause, hence why we were on us for a little while, but it has now been resolved. It was just a slight ping issue. So it looks like we are good and getting ready to go into our third game of the day. We've had some pretty quick-paced games so far today. That Fnatic one especially incredibly fast, and I feel like this could be another game which could be quite quick, or it could be slow. I mean, we are looking at a Cogmore. If Riddle are able to slow this game down and kind of get Gooby to the point where he can take over the game, then potentially this could get a little bit scary for KOVA. We were talking in the beginning of the game, but it is one of those champs where in the early levels, does a deceptively high amount of damage. You've got that Braum there as well to keep him safe, and also technically set up for the picks with the slows and the concussive blows. So it could be an interesting bot lane, or it could be a very uninteractive, we push lane and walk away from wave bot lane.
Yeah, and fun little stat there. KOVA held their 2-0 record over Riddle in the previous split. Interesting to see whether Riddle can get some revenge, whether KOVA can hold out on that. As I think game plan for KOVA could potentially be sort of playing out through bot side and having Snowmy try and push out some of these. I'm trying to think about the bottom lane priority here a lot, because Ziggs typically as a champion, he's almost a champion and a half when it comes to lane priority.
Yeah.
But when you've got Nautilus into Braum Cogmore, that's when things get a little trickier. It's not so black and white in terms of being able to force out priority if Tiara can't necessarily assist on shoving out some of these waves. But if Tiara is allowed to roam up, I think in tandem with Outlandish, it can be a really, really powerful skirmishing duo. Lee Sin, obviously, is still Lee Sin. He has a lot of early game damage, even though we see him primarily in the lanes. When he is in the jungle, he's maxing Q. And if he does find those sonic waves, he is blowing up HP bars. And then, I mean, Nautilus is practically an assassin, so just pair that up in the early game, and whoever gets caught by a hook is probably dead. But
Absolutely.
with the leash, seems like Riddle are going to have bot lane priority at the start here.
Yeah, they're actually getting a lot of damage into Tiara. One more auto attack and Tiara would have been heavily chunked. It's going to have to think about chugging on one of those potions.
Yeah, and exactly what I was just talking about, right? Normally, Ziggs as oh my god, he's going to have to flash.
Good hook there, but not underneath the tower. Now Tiara will eat a little bit more damage in response. Riddle honestly having a fantastic start to this bot lane here.
They're just doing a great job.
On the Ziggs, it's one of those champions where when you do see him get played, he kind of suffers until he's got that lost chapter. And then I assume the Ludens, but could also go Leandries as well. That's kind of when the wave clear spikes and you can kind of uninteractively play the lane.
Yeah, I think also Leandry's in a game like this where you're effectively playing against, you know, 3.5 times. Obviously, not Riddle. Rumble isn't necessarily a tank, but can sometimes build HP and
yeah, it's a shield that makes him a tank in the current meta.
Yeah, there you go.
Everyone's so squishy. A shield makes you a tank.
Yeah. There you go. So I'd be curious to track Snurmy's Itemization. It's, again, not a very common champion we see in the meta at the moment, but I hope that we see a little bit of rising priority in him, especially through the bottom lane, especially when you talk about AD solo laners so frequently. If you can't always slot an AP jungler into the game, you can slot Ziggs into the bottom side. There's relatively well into a lot of the AD matchups, I feel personally anyway. For now, pretty quiet, except for the bottom side. And jungler's just going to trade out. There's no real threat of stacked waves or dives or anything like that. I think we're just going to have a bit of a snooze fest until somebody oversteps and gives either MC or Outlandish an opportunity to pounce.
It feels like it's going to be a pretty calm one here as Tatooine is going to gnaw out and the Crocodile slides straight back out of that one. This is what we do see from these kind of melee bruisers versus the Kali. I mean, the Kali gets bullied in a lot of lanes, but melee bruisers make her life really, really rough because she walks up, she's going to get this happen to her, and that is just an easy first blood for Slowkey.
Yeah, I wanted to cut you because I feel like Slowkey was about to do exactly what he just did. Simply doesn't have flash. He's running teleport ignite, so he just doesn't respect the stun and the fact that he's 250 HP.
But it's a Kali, so, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Level
so
6 comes in, starts one-shotting champs.
Yeah, I've got teleport as well, so I'm not really missing anything. Oh, no. I feel so bad playing a Kali. I mean, it is still a setback, and having Set be a little bit accelerating gold is really nice for him. He's already going to be pressured out here, and MC is just going to make sure the wave crashes underneath the tower.
Simply was going for a nice little trade, but not going to be able to find too much here. And Slowkey just going to go for a base, picks up the whip, gets the boots, and a ward. So nice little base there for the Set. You can see Gooby has already been to base and just started to build up a few items. Normally got that Tear of the Goddess now, so we'll be stacking that one up. And a little bit of a ways away before Snormy can kind of just uninteractively clear the waves. But I think Gooby's going to be okay with it being chill for a little bit anyway.
Yeah, Gooby pretty fine. Snurmy also pretty fine. I think one thing as the game progresses that'll be important is actually who's out objectives first. Just specifically kind of talking about choke control. When you've got Ziggs in the game in particular, it gets very troublesome. When you've got Gnar in the game too, when you look at the other side, Rumble, Set, Kog'Maw, Braum, I think you will see a pretty clear correlation between if somebody's in front of the objective first, excluding things like really hefty flanks if Kex and Slowkey manage to find some kind of pincer or something like that on Snurmy. Whoever's in front of the objective first is probably going to have a much easier time in these greater team fights.
Well, the Dragon's on the Rift, and it does look like neither team's really putting too much priority on that right now. But now they're just kind of sitting back, although, you know, you got the bot lane push in favor of KOVA. Now
hello.
Slowq getting jumped onto. KOVA are looking to try and afford themselves a mid push here. Simply has to just jump in straight away with the ultimate. Jumps back in, and MC's locked the kick to follow up, and they're going to go for it. The slam comes down as a hook is there, and Slowq, he is locked down in place. As KOVA just find himself a nice couple of kills.
Yeah, I mean, minor misplay from Simply on missing out on the perfect execution could have saved his life. Potentially, I'll have to catch a replay of it, to be honest with you. But all in all, still a 2-for-1 that they'll be happy to take as Meganar. Okay. Not stunned up. Oh my goodness.
Missing a lot there, unfortunately. And now Kex pops the Dominus. He's looking for the trade. A lot of healing coming in. Not going to go for the tower dive. Kex just quite happy to take the...
once he's in mini, he can.
He is looking for it, potentially. Mini-Nar's here. This is now...
He's got to respect it. Kex is going to flash.
He's got flash.
He gives him the opportunity. He's just going to do it. Too much healing now, though.
Yeah, I think he's going to call it there. That was a little scary for Tatooine. Tatooine playing with fire, but let's have a look at the action from that little mid lane action.
Yeah, the action from little mid... I like that, Jake.
Yeah,
That's
shut up.
But Faithbreaker comes out, Outlandish actually immediately flashes away, whereas Simply goes in, so a little bit of miscoordination there, but a Sonic Wave connects. And actually, no, the perfect execution does connect onto MC, so can actually factor in too much. As Tatooine... a little bit of cannibalism going on between Rumble and Nar.
I don't think using a flamethrower is cannibalism, mate.
Well, no, but he's just seared him, so, no.
Is that cannibalism?
No, but he's cooked him, and maybe Rumble feels like eating. Listen, leave me alone, all right? After that replay toss? But yeah, replay,
right.
we obviously came out of a replay.
Action up in the top lane action.
Yeah, all right, there we go. So Tatooine just has no response. The equalizer is right up against the wall where Tatooine is, and there's just no flash option available. For
man.
For a KOVA top laner.
As we're now 8 minutes in, gold lead, 1,500 gold up for the side of Riddle. No completed items are here. Tatooine has now got this lost chapter, so not Tatooine, sorry, Snormy. I saw Rodent in top lane and in bot lane, and just assumed it was a Ziggs. A lot of small champions in this game.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Also a few big ones. We all remember that cinematic with the North.
With Nordus. Oh yeah, he's huge. And
he's a bit of a chungus.
He is. And PlayStation actually has level 6. There's no level 6 available to Tiara.
Yeah,
he flies laid down.
Into the knockup. That is going to be Tiara. He's big, but he's dead now. Tatooine's teleported in. Nar is running out. He's going to have to find a good opportunity to go for it. This Rift Herald is still aggroed, and the fight's going to break out. The slam's going to come down. There's the reset. As now Riddle looking for the members. Outlandish all alone with nowhere to go. Simply slides back through, and Snormy coming in for the Mega Inferno bomb, but it's not going to hit the mark, and Simply is cut. It's not cannibalism, it's just murder, as Riddle are running through the members of KOVA. As Kex will finish up Snormy for the final kill, and the Rift Herald will be their prize.
Yeah, and honestly, it was such a great ult from Slowq in particular. He actually ults the Gnar out, who's in Mega, and he has a flash available to him, as Riddle had to try and approach through that choke, which meant there was no opportunity for Tatooine to actually flash and maybe get a bit of a wombo combo going. And all the while, Gooby on the bottom side, left untended, I believe, took 2 plays during that play. You see the ultimate there from set. The suplex just means Tatooine has to retreat. There is no aggressive option, and Outlandish kind of left to Kex and simply not really allowed to play the game. Stunned up, locked up, burnt to MC, and Snormy as well, a victim of the rest of his team's play.
Yeah, like you're saying, in the bot lane, the whole time, Gooby was kind of being a bit of an Aspo kid while his friends were having a fight. He was just spitting at public property. Was able to get himself... I might have been sitting on that one for a little while. He was able to pick himself up 2 plates. Now building towards the wit's end. We did see a Phantom Dancer start earlier on a game for us, but they decided not to go for it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see it this time.
Thank God.
Wit's end, fair amount of value here. You got Cogmore. I mean, you have Ziggs rather, and the Akali, and just means that's a lot of the damage that you're likely to be taking in a lot of scenarios. Threat on to him that much lower, and of course, damage stats pretty good for Cogmore order on hit, as trade pretty extended. Kex thinking about it, but Mini-Gnar is so obnoxious.
It's so bizarre seeing a squirrel win a fight versus a crocodile.
I mean, well, if Oz can kill crocodiles, then...
True, but Yeah, but he's not a giant otter.
Oh.
It looks like I might be wrong here because the crocodile's hungry and he's chasing onto Tatooine.
Whoa.
Tatooine nowhere near narrowing out. Turns out that is one hungry crocodile.
Yeah, and Tatooine's going to have to back off realistically. Won't have the sustain to play out a potential dive. As speaking of dive, KOVA on the receiving end right here.
Spread. Oh no, Snormy, he's down. Gooby finds the kill. And he should be able to get this turret as well. I think everyone else backing off, so there should be first turret blood to him. But Kex in the meantime, getting jumped onto, simply looking for a perfect execution. And he gets himself the juicy shutdown as they get themselves plates in the other side of the map for the side of Riddle. So trades for trades going on right now.
Yeah, trade to trades, but when you take a look at the gold difference here, 6,000 gold at 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's
you
worrying.
are a KOVA fan right now.
Outlandish might look for the insect here. Nope, decides not to go for it. It's
Doesn't
Loki.
have the kick.
Running towards him, but not going to go for it.
Yeah, doesn't have the kick. And
Oh,
real
he
nice
didn't.
play.
Okay,
Well, yeah,
my bad.
real nice play from Riddle overall. Just punishing the bottom lane, and it's nice that Simply gets that shutdown, but he's gonna have to be present in some more skirmishes across the map. You get the replay. It's just Snurmy can't really do anything. The equalizer cuts him off from a retreat, and the Broom ultimate knocks him up underneath the tower, and Gooby just eats the scraps. And Kex, I think, just went hunting for Tatooine and found the Simply instead. Takes him down. Shutdown is nice. Actually be curious to see whether or not Simply has the Rift Maker with that shutdown gold. It looks like the answer is going to be no. Doesn't have the combined cost at the very least. Still weighing on the item spike.
While we're talking about items, though, we do see some pretty nice items starting to come in. We've got this Stride Breaker on Slowkey, Night Harvester on MC, Stride Breaker on Kex, and the Wit's End on Gooby. So first items now finished up, and you are seeing that kind of gold deficit really show off here for the side of Riddles. They're going to secure themselves their first dragon. I don't think KOVA are going to want to contest this. They're not in the area anyway, but I think it's probably the smart play just to ignore that and maybe look towards maybe getting some plates in the top side, although Kex is in the area as well, so it might be a little bit hard.
Yeah. Have to see. There's 30 seconds left. There's realistically not going to be much a chance for KOVA to take plates anywhere, really. And item difference so large. I'm not sure where KOVA are actually going to be able to find a play in the immediate future without it being a bit of an overstep from somebody on the side lane. As
hello.
Fight in the mid lane.
Snormy getting locked down. They're trying to get a bit of damage off as didn't have their Cogmore in the area, so KOVA probably able to survive just due to that. Still some plates to go, although the tower plates just fall off as I noticed the time. And Kex and Tatooine going for a fight. Here comes Outlandish, lands the kick, and he's got that Dragon's Rage for the execute. Tatooine, one last boomerang into the back of the crocodile.
Yeah, too much damage there for Kex to survive. Did have the flash. Oh no, it's just coming off cooldown, actually. There you go, it's up now. Very unfortunate. Yeah, DC from the Riddle jungler. Unfortunately, it seems like, and
Hopefully it won't be too long.
no. And I'm a little bit out of focus for some reason. I've not moved.
My favorite thing about this show is the fact that you have the same camera, the same
As
setup
you.
as everyone else.
But
Everyone has the
mine
same
just
stuff
seems
as
to be
you.
faulty.
But for some reason, you just always fade into the ether. I don't know what it is.
I'm fixing it.
There we go. Hello,
Hi.
Kamada. It's nice to
Hi, guys.
see you in full focus here.
Almost. Yeah, no, I'll call it full focus. We're back, yeah.
Tell
Unfortunately.
with the fuzzy hair.
All right, that one made me giggle. Yeah, unfortunate DC at the moment. We'll see exactly what's going on there, and hopefully we can have the issue resolved.
I hate to rain on your parade, your Armada. I mean, we've had a long week of games together already, but it's MCDC'd. That's what's happening. Hopefully, it won't be too long until that gets back. As
there you go.
Connects on my screen, so it looks like we are getting ready to go back into the game.
I think his brother must be on site. That's the only reason why he's back so quickly. And if he was here last week, you might get the reference if you watched.
I had a complete brain fart. Yeah, you spoke to. It was his brother.
All right, let's not because it's all right. It was a funny moment.
It was a funny moment.
It was, but yeah. I think we should be getting underway right about now, or in about.
We're back in game.
We're back in game.
On our screen, we're back in game.
Yeah.
Just
the pause is finished. We're just waiting for it.
There we go. Gonna found the change scene. Yeah.
You flaming our producer. Remember, he's got the kill switch.
He does have the kill switch. Right now, it's just you on air. I'm not talking.
Actually, yeah, probably. Likely muted you already. But let's see what KOVA can do. I'm curious. They do have a lot of wave clear in the mid lane, so without a Rift Herald cracking mid lane tower, without just outright diving, cracking mid lane tower is going to be very difficult for Riddle.
Absolutely.
Even with the gold lead, they're going to have to kind of approach from both sides. Crash a wave.
They got the Rift Herald spawning up in a minute. So maybe that might be the point they want to go for. And you do want to try and take this mid lane turret. The Ziggs is now at the point where he's pretty much able to deal with the waves pretty easily, even when he's missing abilities, apparently. So, you know, they need that Rift Herald to try and crack open this tower, boys. This tower's going to be super hard to take down.
Yeah, I think like one of the only other champions that is as obnoxious to deal with when it comes to mid lane wave clear is like stuff like Xerath and maybe Anivia, I think, because she's got the wall and the stun.
Did I curse it last game when I talked about it? How I hated the Ziggs Xerath meta? Was this... I'm sorry, viewers. This is my fault, apparently.
Yeah, you've set us on a dark path. The remainder of the night is quite literally just going to be wave clear mages now.
Luckily, they invented Rift Herald for this kind of reason.
That they did.
To be able to deal with these bloody wave clearing mages.
I will say Rift Herald, one of the more successful sort of neutral objective reworks, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Do you remember the initial Rift Herald? Remember what it used to do?
Didn't you get like Baron buff minions basically?
You effectively got like Baron buffed minions for a while. There's the slight Ziggs buff coming in. The time to land.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, really good there from.
What was it then? I actually can't remember off the top of my head.
If I recall it correctly, you used to take I think 5% reduced damage or something like that, or you used to deal 5% more damage to towers or some nonsense like that when you were isolated. So it was really good for split pushes. And champions like Camille and Fiora were in the meta back then. So giving a Rift Herald advantage and basically baroned up minions for... I think the buff lasted 20 minutes.
Was it 20 minutes?
It was something ridiculous like that. Yeah, I hope someone can fact check that for me.
It's so long.
It was like a season 5, season 6 thing.
It's weird because it feels like Rift Herald's been in the game for like not that long, but it's been in the game for a long time.
Yeah, man, we're turning into league boomers.
Do you remember the Drake reworks as well?
Which
the original Jake.
The original gold dragons, yeah.
Just gave you gold. Then I can't fully remember what followed. Was it straight into the elemental dragons?
It was straight into elemental dragons, yeah, but it wasn't elemental rifts or anything like that.
But they were different, weren't they?
Yeah, I think Infernal Dragon always gave damage. I think Mountain used to originally was it straight resistances back then? Or was it the true damage to objectives and towers?
True damage to objectives. It was true damage to objectives.
I just can't remember if there was a previous iteration before that. The Mountain Dragon was so broken.
Yeah, I remember Ocean was quite weak back then because it was somewhat similar. I mean, Cloud was just movement speed.
Yeah, Cloud was just movement speed, but early Ocean Dragons were so oppressive because if you picked up one early, it was mana regen too. So if you got early Oceans...
Oh, it was. You were right. They were good early.
Early Oceans were like so irritating to deal with, especially if he was a top laner and he was against a champion that typically has like mana issues or something like that. Something like Gangplank, for example, which
was it?
It gets infuriating.
Was it only one dragon? Observer's annoyed by that one.
Yeah, KOVA, they're looking to contest this dragon, but I think you just leave it alone.
Oh, they're looking for it. That's a beautiful equalizer. Here comes Slowq. Unfortunately, not going to be able to slow anyone, but the dragon has already been taken, and the fight very much in favor.
All right, hold on a second.
Actually, KOVA right now is... Tatooi's looking for the Gnar. Gooby with a good flash away. Simply comes in with a perfect execution. Now Tatooi burning low. Gooby's getting able to get himself the kill. And Kex is tanking for the moment. They've got the shuriken.
Gooby's caught.
Doomed. Gooby's going down. Kex is getting cooked as he's trying to jump out from this for the moment. The slam comes in. That's the double kill with Gooby's passive. And MC flashes to cook the next rat. Now Atlantis is jumping in. And MC... He's got a good internet connection. He's got himself a double kill. It's the ace for the side of Riddle.
Yeah, Riddle picking up a pretty worthwhile ace for them. KOVA just felt like contesting, and there's just not really a reason now. if the gold was actually closer than this 8,000 gold deficit that we see KOVA in, this is a pretty good fight. You see Tatui and Simply both actually approach from a flank angle, and there's always pressure from start to finish on Gooby to always be kieing away. And you see the entire group of Riddle are doing their best to try and keep Gooby alive. The Braum dies off on the side, and this is when KOVA feel like this is potentially their chance to actually find some Riddle members here. Unfortunately, the Haymaker shield is too big initially to take down Slow Q, but eventually the Shuriken flip actually lands onto Gooby and he's taken down. The slam almost connects onto the Ziggs with the face breaker, but not quite able to finish out. But it's fine, because you got the Rumble, who picks up the Yordle and the Blind Monk on the back end of the fight. Ends up being clean ace, and honestly, given the gold deficit, you have to kind of give credit to KOVA for making that a close one. But I mean, realistically, it's just more gold funneled over to Riddle.
Yeah.
And an objective given over too. So it's kind of just helping out Riddle more than it is KOVA.
However, now Snormy has finished up his Luden's Echoes, so is able to kind of uninteractively just clear the waves from a distance. Sure, that mid lane tower is down, but he can still catch these waves fairly safely. Simply able to take a turret, so slowly trying to peel back this gold deficit. It's still 8,000. It's still really, really far behind for them, but he's getting himself a little bit of gold injected into him, and you can see the individual goals between everybody here. Simply's probably one of the standout players for KOVA, but even he is down 1,000 gold, 1,200 gold to be precise, to Slow Q right now.
Yeah, but what champion is he playing, Jake?
He's playing Akali.
Nothing is impossible. that's my.
I mean, we saw a pretty good fight, and I mean, Gooby now flashless after that fight. Had he not dodged Tatui's R with the flash, he would be dead. So, you know, there are these opportunities. The Slow Q jumping in onto Tatui. Tatui has the red buff, and that's a lot of damage coming out as he goes in for a showstopper, but the flip is going to come in and Simply going for that perfect execution. The equalizer's down, and Tatui may just burn out here. Almost going down. Simply finds himself the kill. The kick comes in from Outlandish. Over the wall they go, as Outlandish will get chased up onto, and Gooby will secure himself a kill. It's a 1-for-1 so far, as Tiara has to be careful. That is one scary dog spitting away onto him. Gets the hook away to safety, though.
Yeah, and just unfortunately for KOVA, even though they are the ones making this practice play, they don't quite have the members show up first. After Slow Q does burn down. It takes a while for Slow Q to die because it was such a nice zoning equalizer from MC. No one really wanted to approach and lose HP and potentially get bursted over the wall. Still, it's not really anything that amounts to much. These kills traded, it's effectively just kills traded gold back and forth.
Absolutely.
The objectives aren't really able to be taken right now. So.
I've only just noticed.
Yeah.
MC has 25 stacks on his Magi's.
Oh,
24, sorry.
24, but...
24, but he's almost there.
He's got a focus. Horizon focus, right?
I guess that makes sense, because you
can equalize them
from
far away,
long range. And then the additional burn afterwards.
Yeah, because the equalizer has to be treated as a skill shot, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming
it's not
how from experience of playing Rumble and how it's like used. I get
it's not point and click. I guess it is. I guess it counts.
Wait, okay, we've got nothing going on. Did he just pick it up, or did he have it in that last fight?
He just bought it in this fight.
I would love to see whether or not there's actually bonus damage coming out of that, because very interesting
item otherwise.
Yeah, it would be.
It'd be a really useless item if you can't proc it.
Yeah, we'll have to see after our next fight or so, which Riddle thinking about contesting this blue buff, but prefer the mid lane priority. And with the Dragon spawning in 5 seconds, you imagine they're just going to go for it. And I really hope KOVA don't contest again, because they will just be signing off their own death warrant. But look at the minimap. They're looking for flank angles, so they've been found out here with that vision plant. And I think KOVA, they're going out. They want to go out with a bang, that's for sure.
It's going to be a bang or a whimper here. That's the Dragon secured. The flash over the wall. They're looking to join in. Gooby untouched for the moment, but he gets instantly caught out by the slam. Simply going low. The equalizer's burning out and Simply slides back out. The health bars are low. Tatui might find himself a big gnar here. Can he get it? No. Slow Q pulls him back in. There it is. Back. Tatui looks to lock them down, but there's not enough backup. And that's going to be Gooby finding himself the kill. They found themselves a kill onto Slow Q as well. Tiara running away. They find their opportunity, but it is just not enough. There is not enough follow-up. And that is Kex on a killing spree. That is Baron going over to the side of Riddle.
Yeah, it will be Baron. Honestly, it's such a shame. You can see the merits of this composition from KOVA. And in a 10,000 gold deficit, it's kind of impressive, but they're just too far behind. It doesn't really matter if Riddle can slap you with their wallets in these team fights. And unfortunately for them, it is just a really well-played fight by Riddle. And in particular, Slowq is the MVP there for me because he just holds so many members in place to stop any follow-up being actually just happening after the Nara armor. You see, the kick is big, the Nautilus armor is great too. And Slowq, he takes Simply back into multiple members to the point where he can't really deal any DPS without potentially being threatened. And Tatooine dives in, but you see the face break flash stuns up Tatooine, and the damage onto Snurmy means that he can't follow up on this big Gnar. Outlandish doesn't have a health bar to actually follow up on. And even though all of the CC, all of the conditions are kind of met for KOVA to have a successful fight, Riddle just have too much gold, and no one's actually just dropping in these team fights. There's not enough damage.
I have to give
to the red
big
team.
props to Gooby as well.
Yeah.
He has kited these fights absolutely flawlessly. Back to back, and it's been a pick that we've seen a lot of recently. As Tiara might be in trouble here. Wait, I was looking on the wrong side of the map. I just missed that, and they're getting the kick onto NC. NC will lose his life here. It's a 2 for 1. I totally missed Stormy die.
Now, can I? Oh, I don't know if we're gonna have time, but I'd like to get a hover on the focus horizon damage. I think Kex is about to be the recipient of a 3-man gank though, so we're like, gonna have to wait a bit.
Slices, dices, and he's safe. And now he's got his backup.
Yeah,
They've just cut them off with their own base here, and they've got the ability to go for the tower dive. The Slow's gonna make sure that this is an extra tower shot as in goes Simply. And it is simply impossible for him to deal with the members of Riddle. Tatooine about to gnar out as PlayStation gets himself stuck on the minions. And the Baron buff might just be enough to be able to take down this final tier 2. Sorry, the second to last tier 2. The bot lane tower is still standing for a little bit.
How long is the question? And yeah, I mean, MC was so fed. That's so much damage that he pretty much half health Tsunami with the equalizer and then just said, oh, I guess I'll flash in then. Now, granted, he had, I believe, 14 or 18 stacks prior to doing that, and he's now lost more stacks, and he did do it for a 1 and 4.
132 damage.
But it was off of that one play, because I don't think he actually got use out of the Horizon Focus off of the previous fight at the Dragon. So,
well, that was the first time he's had it. So, okay.
So it was all on Tsunami, so, 132 extra damage on
the champion
one play,
150
on one champion.
1,500 health, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big deal, and it's why he got the solo kill. But he did also give up his Donya stacks. It wasn't actually that worth. But still a fun build. I'll give MC that. Has its very clear strength. Has Gooby's 4 items. His item build is actually very, very cheap.
Yeah, this is the Cogmore now at the point where he should be able to take over. And what I was saying just before the fight broke out was we've seen a lot of Cogmores in the UK and NLC, and I don't think any of them have really delivered on like that hyper carry Cogmore. Normally, if they've won, it's kind of been the other lanes kind of carrying them, and they're just being somewhat oppressed, somewhat strong. But like Gooby is now genuinely terrifying. I simply has to assassinate him, but Gooby's been so good in these team fights and kind of dodging Simply's assassination, but I don't think Simply's going to be able to do it. He's almost got that 3rd item, but I just doubt he's got the damage. It's going to have to be a great kind of group effort to be able to take out Gooby. And then you still got MC to be afraid of. You still got Kex to be afraid of.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just Gooby. I think it's a great coordinated team effort from Riddle.
Yeah, absolutely.
To keep the Cogmore alive too. Multiple times where Slowq has just kept divers and damage threats away from the main fight time and time again, which has meant that Gooby's allowed to actually punish the 1 or 2 members that do make it through the big man who throws fists. But I think Riddle, they're just going to get this soul. KOVA, again, contesting for a dragon.
Oh, they're looking to come in. The Gale Force has been used. That's the soul already secured. Gooby kiting on that sideline, and he is free firing away. Everybody slowed in some note, and Gooby will lose his life. KOVA might have just found what they need to take this fight, although it's not enough. It's a double kill on to the set. Slowq going to be looking for the triple kill as Kex takes it away from him. like I said, you can kill the Cogmore, but you still got to deal with the set. You still got to deal with the Renekton and that Rumble. And this might just be enough for them to crack open the base here.
Yeah, they should be able to just about... What? Okay, maybe just fell friends. So let me teleporting back to base from tier 2. I respect it. Time saving. He's a speedrunner. Back to Fountain.
It's big brain.
Yeah.
1 minute until Baron comes up, and Gooby will be back on the Rift for that one. Probably be able to melt through that fairly quickly. He's got the Spectral Cow now finished up, so building towards what I assume will be his Spirit's Visage.
Yep.
We'll have a Nate sustain in his runes, so be nice to him.
Yeah. It's one of those games where you got to kind of feel bad for KOVA because they're now that they're so far behind, they've been playing the fights out as well as they can, but they just don't have the resources. And I mean, Riddle doing a good enough job with the resources that they have. They picked up every usual objective, like kind of highlighted. Whichever team ends up in front of the objectives first has had a slightly higher success rate. And Riddle capitalizing on the position and the gold lead appropriately. And all they really need now is this big purple worm to spawn up. And once they take it down, you imagine they will start to drop some inhibitors here. And I mean, it's going to have to be a miracle still from Outlandish on the Lee Sin. As you can, if we could get a quick flicker of the vision, hopefully before anything happens. You can see there's actually a fair amount of vision for KOVA at the moment. Can be slowly cleared out by Riddle though. There's Riddle actually a little lacking on the vision side. They haven't necessarily cleared out too much yet. But they can probably get enough information just off the mid wave and top wave alone as
they know what's going on there.
Full information, yeah, full information.
It's going fairly quickly though. It is a Cogmore. It's going down nice and low. PlayStation just playing interrupts as he gets Dragon Rage back. The slow Q's coming in to make sure nobody is getting close. The Baron is going low. The Mega Inferno Bomb not going to be quite enough. And Outlandish going very, very low to slow Q. Slow Q is just 1v3ing here. And here comes Here comes the Dominus. Snormy has to flash away. The Equalizer does go a little bit wide, but Gooby will gale force forwards to secure the kill. 25 kills to 11 right now. So the teleports are coming in, and Tatooine goes for a cheeky gnaw back, but the face breaker into his face, and he is broken. Gooby gets the next kill as well. Riddle may just have taken everything they need to be able to close this game out. They've got Baron. 2 members are down. The wave clear is down as well. KOVA back onto the fountain, and it is going to have to be a miracle from them to hold on to this game. Simply slides in, simply is locked down, and Gooby kiting everything. Tries to go in for the perfect execution, but MC taking a lot of damage, but not going low enough, and Gooby just free firing away. A double kill picked up for him. Outlandish will just ward hop back to the fountain, back to safety. And this is it. Riddle take out KOVA in an absolutely convincing manner.
Yeah, Riddle making a Kali look balanced. And finally going to be taken down KOVA in the regular split after losing their head-to-head 2 times in spring in the regular season.
Yeah.
And honestly, pretty clean game all in all. You have to say, executing about as well as they really had to once they had that massive gold lead at around it was 12-minute mark. I think it was a 6,000 gold lead. It just felt really not necessarily unwinnable for KOVA, but they just had to play perfectly from that point on, and they just quite frankly couldn't. They couldn't hold on with the wave clear. And it's unfortunate because you saw the merits of the team come through time and time again. The team fights were kind of close when you take into consideration the gold deficit KOVA is suffering. So
if the gold lead wasn't that big, that game
I think KOVA could have very easily won out some team fights. Yeah,
honestly, I mean that's partly the power of Akali, but we'll see. Anyway, it's time for us to throw to a break, and when we're back, we'll have the analyst desk to have a quick scoreboard over it. So we'll see you in a moment.